Have you ever heard of a place that appears on maps, but doesn't exist in the real world? A location so strange that some people swear it's hidden on purpose, yet it's sitting right where the world officially begins. Here's the bold truth. There is an island in the Atlantic Ocean that has no land, no people, no structures, yet millions of digital maps recognize it by name. And if you stay with me, you're about to discover why this island became the most important, non-existent location on Earth, how it accidentally exposed glitches, secrets, mistakes, and mysteries buried deep inside global navigation systems. The story of a place that shouldn't be there somewhere in the vast Atlantic. Far from any coastline, there sits a single point, quiet, empty, unremarkable. But on certain maps, it's marked with a small dot and a name that feels more like a computer error than a destination. Null Island. No beaches, no mountains, no civilization, just nothing. And yet it has a fan base, memes, folklore, and even digital tourists. Why? Because this island represents a strange collision between geography, technology, and human imagination. But to understand how this impossible island came to be, we have to go way back before satellites, before GPS, before ships even knew where they were going. How the world learned to measure itself today, finding your location is easy. A tap on your phone, and boom, you're a blinking blue dot. But 2,000 years ago, that wasn't the case. A Greek mathematician named Eratosthenes made one of the boldest scientific guesses in history. He noticed that at noon in one city, the sun cast no shadow, but at the same time in another city, far to the north, it did. From just two shadows and the distance between two towns, he calculated the size of the Earth with shocking accuracy. This discovery eventually led other thinkers to slice the globe into imaginary lines, latitudes, and longitudes grids that could pinpoint any place on the planet with numbers alone. Fast forward to the age of exploration. Each major nation created its own zero line. One country's map didn't match another's. Chaos, ships got lost, navigation became a guessing game. So in 1884, world leaders decided once and for all, the Prime Meridian, the world's official starting line, would run through Greenwich, England. From that moment on, latitude 0, the equator, and longitude 0, the Prime Meridian, formed the single coordinate where everything begins. That coordinate is precisely where our mysterious Null Island sits. Welcome to the island that's not an island. Zoom in on 0 latitude and 0 longitude. You won't find sand or rock or soil. You'll find the open ocean, specifically the Gulf of Guinea, about 600 kilometers off the coast of Africa. Nothing lives there. Nothing happens there. Nothing is there. Yet on thousands of digital maps, you'll see a tiny cartoon island with a flag labeled Null Island. A joke. A glitch. A ghost. But here's where things get interesting. Null Island exists because technology needs a place to put its mistakes. Whenever GPS devices, mapping software, or databases encounter an error coordinates missing, corrupted, undefined, they often default to 00. Accidentally misplace a warehouse. It appears on Null Island. A dataset has broken entries. Straight to Null Island. A cell tower loses its coordinate link. Welcome to Null Island. Over the years, a flood of glitches piled up at the same point, making the island look incredibly busy on digital systems even, though in real life, it has an empty ocean. An island of errors, a homeland for lost data. A digital joke that became a global landmark. The one time something real was there. Strangely enough, despite being a fictional island, the spot once actually had a physical object. A weather buoy placed there by an international climate project. This buoy collected data for years, measuring storms, ocean temperatures, humidity, and wind patterns. It even helped forecast rain in Africa and track the birth of Atlantic hurricanes. It was in much just a floating instrument, but it made Null Island briefly real in a scientific sense. Then in 2021, the buoy was removed. Null Island returned to its natural state, a place defined not by reality, but by error. Other coordinates that hide strange secrets. Null Island isn't the only oddity born from the intersection of maps and imagination. A village of dolls in Japan. In a quiet mountain village, more than 350 life-size dolls stand in place of residents who passed away. Some sit at bus stops, some work in fields. All silently preserve memories. A blood-red lake in Iraq once captured on satellite as a chilling crimson pool. Theories spread like wildfire. The real cause is possibly algae or pollution? No official confirmation has ever been given. A face carved by nature in Canada from the ground. It's just rock and earth. It's the perfect outline of a human face wearing a headdress formed naturally. The lips of Sudan, a pair of rock formations shaped uncannily, like human lips, only visible from air. The gates of hell in Turkmenistan. A fiery crater burning non-stop for more than 50 years after a gas leak was ignited. A natural furnace glowing in the desert night. A shipwreck turned floating forest in Australia, a decommissioned vessel overtaken by mangroves. Stunned, transforming a rusted metal hull into a blooming green sanctuary. Each of these places reminds us that the world is full of strange surprises, accidental art, unintentional mysteries, and glitches hidden in plain sight. The deeper truth: for centuries, maps were tools. Today, they're stories capturing mistakes, and myths, coincidences, and curiosities that make our world feel bigger and weirder than we imagine. Null Island may not exist physically, but its story tells us something important. Even in a world mapped down to the millimeter, there are still places born from human error, imagination, curiosity, places that remind us how mystery can hide in the spaces we overlook.